Hi everybody, it's Richard at Arizona Game Fair 2022 again. I'm here with Mike and Harrison. I got the names reversed. It's Harrison and Mike because I was sitting on the opposite side of the table not 2 seconds when I ran around to sit down here. So I've known you guys forever. I know you guys since the first Game Fair.
Yep.
2017.
It was like forever ago.
in the long, long ago, in the far away.
Yep.
In the previous age, before all this. So, I know you guys have been developing games for a long time. I like some of your earlier, like, card-based releases with they were potions, right?
Oh, the potion cards, yeah.
I still have
that's an old pool, yeah.
I still have the potion cards in my collection. When you guys are super famous,
that's awesome.
Those will go right on eBay.
Exactly. Mine too, don't worry. So.
Right. So, but you guys are still going. Tell me a little bit more about, for those who are watching this at home, a little more about Dynamic Gorillas and what you guys are up to.
Well, Harrison and I started Dynamic Gorilla a long while ago. Probably 2012-ish, I think.
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. We started off from the beginning wanting to make games. And we started with kind of like doing we made an app, like a little puzzle mobile app.
Nice.
Then beyond that, we decided to make the change into card games and tabletop.
Right.
We just really like the community. We love just the camaraderie everyone has here.
Yeah.
And so we dived into conceptualize a tabletop game. And this was after a very long time of playing D&D.
Right.
And we just...
That's where the potion card came from.
Yeah,
exactly.
We did streaming for a little bit just because we were doing D&D. We liked, being part of the community, talking to people. So we streamed for a little bit. We decided that there weren't a lot of things that people, or at least the things that we were seeing that people could use, like those potion cards, things to make it a little more interactive and a little less, you have a potion now type thing. So that's kind of was our first thought, and then we just kind of went full throttle into tabletop.
Nice. So is that what we're going to talk about Dungeon Doors today, right?
Yeah.
So is that what kind of led your D&D experience? You're making accessories for D&D, then you're coming into making this Dungeon Doors games?
Yeah, with D&D, there's always a roadblock of anyone that's unfamiliar with any role-playing game, not specifically D&D, Pathfinder, Savage Worlds, whatever it is, that we're like, hey, let's play. But the roadblock was always, let's set hours aside to make a character. Now let me explain you all the rules as best I can, and then let's get started. And there's a lot of growing pains with it.
Yeah.
And so we decided to try to compress that down into something that was really easy to learn, very fast to play, and still get that experience. With one of the main points of all the fundamentals you learn in the game, to be able to take that and transition it straight into a role-playing game.
Right.
So we had, like saying, the session zeros were really killing a lot of people interested in coming into the games, especially if actually our wives were the ones who we were trying to start some.
That is always the highest bounce.
Yes.
Everybody. That's the peak pinnacle. The partner playing the role-playing games. It's a hard road to hoe. I completely understand.
So we really thought to ourselves, well, how do we take that concept and make it so or even if you don't have that time to play a full session, how do you still feel like you're playing an RPG? Because a lot of times, especially if you're playing heavy rules games or things that are specific to that, you're really locked into what they say versus saying, where we want to make something with guidelines that you can still do in a short amount of time.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of how this is born. I mean, this boils everything down to a very quick to play, easy to learn. Okay.
All right. Well, if you guys want to kind of go through Dungeon Doors and do your demo here a little bit, and
we can give you kind of a good rundown of how the game works. There are a set of first of all, it's a 1 versus 2 to 5 card game.
Okay.
So the 1 is being kind of the doormaster / DM for there. Sure. And then the 2 to 4 is the party heroes. Right. And it's their objective to get out of a dungeon that you build. They need to get out alive and find the exit, or the dungeon master needs to make sure you never leave and just wipe you outside the dungeon. So the
Which
Door
is a little
Masters-
more acceptable in a card game
Right.
as opposed to at the table. Where the
Right.
hours and hours and hours it takes to get to that point can be a little.
Yeah, and also a big difference with like that in D&D is the Door Master in here is actively trying to kill the heroes,
Right.
versus a typical D&D session. The Dungeon Master's there to facilitate the story and help it grow and help the characters have a
At
good
least some of them.
I was gonna say,
most of
that's
the time.
maybe your
Yeah.
your session.
So you want to spin the Door Master hands?
Sure. So the Door Master, like you said, your objective is to kill them, or at least whatever, knock them out. however you
Right,
want to
yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And so you have a deck of 40 cards, 10 exits, which are the things that the adventurers are looking for, 10 monsters that they fight, 10 treasure cards, which will give them treasure or some sort of
Usually
nice utility.
armor or a weapon or a magical item of some sort.
Right, and then 10 obstacles. So to do that, you shuffle them all together, you draw a hand of 5, you set them 3, and then you draw back up to 5, and you continue to do that. Now, so that a lot of times we get asked, well, how? Then you'll just always hide the exits, or you'll never set those down. When you have a number like this, you eventually have to start putting up these good things. You have 50% good, 50% bad.
Yeah.
Now, when I play, if I'm playing with people, like you said, although I'm trying to win, I'm also trying to make you feel like you're going to make it out alive. So
Right.
sometimes just killing people right off the bat is not as fun as making them feel, like they're going to reach that way. Or if I see somebody struggling and I want to, make it a little more fun, you can make your own home rules.
Yeah.
We really want to encourage people to make the game fun for your group. So if your group's all about fighting and stuff, maybe you start with the treasures so that the fights are more fun. Maybe you, every time you kill a dragon, they're carrying treasure.
Right.
That RPG element, that making it a story, making it fun, just because you're against them doesn't mean you can't make it a fun game for everybody to go.
Right.
So we sit down there are a lot of base rules to this, but like you were saying, just touch a little bit more on that homebrew thing, because it is a cool underlying feature of this, because a lot of games that we're playing with, experimenting with, were very hard set on rules, and almost every situation that could come up had a rule for it. Since this is much like D&D, there are very odd times that something in particular will come up that's just very odd that we can't cover.
Yeah. Clearly.
Like a great example, one of the heroes has some companions that could go with it.
Right.
One of them being a rooster. And the whole entire party died on exit. The companion was alive with 1 health. And so it was, does that companion count as a party member and they win? Or did everyone get wiped out? Does the DM win? So at that point, we would just say, well, that's really cool, so the party wins. That rooster made it through.
Clearly,
Clearly,
Right.
the rooster is the party. Come
like
on.
if the rooster got out the door, clearly
Correct.
it won. If it became lunch, it's another problem.
Exactly. So to touch on the actual party themselves, this is kind of really quick. This is how the doors are kind of set up through the game.
Right.
It's like 3-card Monty style, pretty much. These are all the heroes.
Wisely.
We have over 10 in here. I'm not scattering these out very cleanly. But yeah, you can see they all have a wide variety of different spells and abilities.
So we have some big ones here. These
Yeah,
are our
those are the-
tutorial heroes. It's probably a little easier to see on
Yeah.
camera.
A little bit.
So everything you need to know about your hero. So the DM role or the Door Master role is probably the person who's gonna know the most, introduce people into this.
Right.
When a hero comes into this game or an adventure, or you want to introduce your friends, everything they need is right here on this card.
Okay.
They don't need any prior knowledge. They don't need to know how to do anything. They
Right.
come in and all of your stats, all of your information,
Everything's
is right
on the
here.
card.
All your rules are here.
Yep.
And these will apply when you start talking about these
Exactly.
defeating these challenges.
Correct.
Yeah, pretty much everything is on that card.
Yes. So these are our tutorial heroes. We blow them up big for demo purposes and
Right.
stuff.
Also
And camera.
visual pop on when you're
Right.
walking down. Oh, what's that?
Exactly. We really wanted to do a big pool party version of the game, but that stack of cards was getting
Yeah.
a little too high and a little too heavy.
Yeah,
So,
no, I get you. But that's definitely a thing you could do at a convention at some
Yes.
point. Is just play the giant
giant version, yep.
room version. Like we're setting out these door. Like you literally have a
Yep.
door and you have to open the door.
it's been an idea.
23 goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, I get you. Look, I think big. doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea. Yeah, you think it big. Okay, so let's go over kind of like what, as if I'm playing Loretta the peasant, what am I looking at here?
So on this card, again, these are tutorial heroes, so they're very simple and plain. But you'll have a heroic trait, so that's kind of your thing, that passive thing about you. So in this case, really good at obstacles. So every time you come to an obstacle, you have +1.
Okay.
And then below that, you actually have what's called your heroic ability, which is your unique thing that you can do. So it's usually a very special power. For them, for example, it's reviving a fallen hero. It's that thing you can only use so many times. And in our game, we give you a number. That's how many times you can use it. So
right.
all of our heroes have a unique hero traits and heroic abilities, and a different number of times they can use them. So that's what makes unique. That's what makes playing every time different. It's that ability to, sometimes you'll get somebody who's a healer, or sometimes you'll get somebody who's a fighter, or a wizard, a minotaur. So, and then all of your stats are very similar to a lot of RPGs are right here. So this is when you attack a monster, your modifier to your attack. When you hit the monster and do damage, your damage modifier when you roll that damage. How much health you have, and then how hard you are to hit, or armor class for most of it. So again, everything you need to know right here on the
Very
card.
compact character sheet.
And these are great, but I'm seeing these other ones, and they look more like fantasy heroes.
Absolutely.
Right. So these are the kind of like...
These come in the game as a quick start tutorial, much smaller versions of them.
Right.
But this is what we run new players through with the quick start to give them pretty much 80% of the game off the bat.
Okay.
It's much easier to learn how to play while playing.
Right.
So these are, again, then we just use them for our demos. But a few quirky examples of some of these, like our Tiefling Warlock. Anytime a creature or hero dies, they can gain health.
Okay.
The half ogre fighter, the player that's playing this card can only communicate in grunts and gestures, so that adds a whole dynamic to that.
They add role-playing aspects to some of these things.
And then like one more, like the Croaker Pirate. Any treasure cards that they find, they're very sticky fingers, so they'll never give up the treasure. So once you pick it up, you can never trade it.
Right.
So some of the traits are good, some bad. Really, it's these characters aren't meant to. They're meant to bring you into that character.
Sure.
So it's about that, playing that role, being that character.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yes, these are much more fantasy driven. These were actually Kickstarter backers.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's great. And I play Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Yes.
Oh,
So
these
that's a
are your
jam.
Dungeon Crawl
So
classics.
these are 0th level people,
Yep.
and then eventually you upgrade to these, right?
Correct.
So that's just, I just was thinking about that. I was like, oh, it's sort of like DCC.
Yep.
And
We've even had people try to take these tutorial heroes through a dungeon. They don't get very far.
No.
But it's a very difficult task. But you can
But
try.
with the minuses to distance and magic or whatever,
Hit and damage. Yeah.
hit and damage, I can see that being a little tough when you got
A little bit.
dragons like this.
Yes,
Yes.
A
Gassy
gassy dragon. It's literally a farting dragon. And it's got like 40 hit points.
Yeah. It's a
So
difficult task.
with a 14 armor class, that's gonna be a little difficult when you got minuses too. So
We challenge you
For
to
sure.
try.
yeah,
Exactly.
I'm sure they
you can do it.
You should really try.
The
And-
hardcore people.
yeah, and that's but you probably you want like 2 or 3 of them. Like, it's like DCC, the funnel. You want
Right.
like 5 heroes in front of you, so you
Exactly.
can like slaughter the.
I think you're hitting on one of the best parts about what we're trying to build. Right there, what you did, where you thought of a way to play this, that's what we want to encourage.
Yeah.
We want people to bring in and post, hey, we took the tutorial heroes through it, but we each got 3 tutorial heroes to go through, and kind of made it a mini DCC.
Right.
That whole concept is what we're really trying to do with this game. Is how do here's the guidelines. Here's what we think. You can play it like the rules are written, or if you think of a cool idea, something cool to try,
Yeah.
do it.
And we're even working on setting up a community on our website where people can submit their homebrew rules,
Nice.
so we can share it with other people on how different ways that they like to play.
very cool. That's
'cause we
what
very
we're
much
all-
encourage it.
Arizona Game Fair. That's what we're all about. Building community. That's where we're trying to. We
Yep.
got women's gaming. We've got all sorts of trying to bring everybody in to hang out and have good
Yeah.
games and experience interesting games like Dungeon Doors. Now, is there anything else we want to cover before we wrap up here?
I think the only last thing we didn't cover is we do have a website, DungeonSheet.com, and an app that
Okay.
lets you basically track your ability points. Oh, he has it right here. You can
slide it down a little bit there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right
okay.
there.
So you can roll dice on the app. You can track your ability points and also track health.
Wow, that was
So the game,
I'm not good.
right.
The
I
game
got a
all
7,
goes in
that's a 20. Yeah.
the game can all fit in one small tuck box.
Okay.
So we really want to focus on that portability.
Right.
And dice don't really fit easily with cards in a tuck box, so this can replace your dice. So you can just take the little box with you. Have this app. It's either an app you can download, or you just have people go to the web page. It's a web app as well. It's all
Okay.
free.
Nice.
And yeah, you can play the game anywhere with just the little box of cards.
Very nice. So yeah, it's got all the heroes in there.
Every
as
hero,
well.
and also the creatures as well.
Okay.
So it makes it easy for the door master as well.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
That is an excellent package. Really appreciate you guys coming
Thank
on.
you for
Appreciate
having
you
us.
having
We're
us on.
excited.
Harrison and Mike.
Yep.
I got it right this time.
Yeah.
I got it right this time. So thank you very much, Dynamic Gorillas. Check them out online. The link is in the down below. And now I'm going to walk over and shut the camera off. So
All
it's
right.
that awkward like moment.
You need like a button, like
the hand-
Yeah, a little clicker.